So, just before I begin here, I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm actually sick while recording all of this. So, you'll probably notice that my voice is kind of scratchy, well, it doesn't sound very good, let's be honest. So, recently I went online, I was looking for an oscilloscope. I had never used one before or owned one, but I had heard how useful they were, and I actually did need it for a project. Something was wrong with one of my Raspberry Pi's input signals, so I just wanted to check it with an oscilloscope. A lot of the ones I found online were these cheap handheld ones, and I had heard okay things about them, but I heard they can be really annoying to deal with, sometimes dangerous, and also I'd heard that they just didn't work too well. They weren't accurate, and their signals were kind of smudged. It was really bad. So I went on eBay, because that's where I buy a lot of my old used electronics. Super great place. You guys should use it too. I looked online for an oscilloscope there. Either they were, again, those cheap little handheld ones. They were very expensive scopes, except for the older ones, the older CRT oscilloscopes, because obviously those aren't manufactured anymore. People don't really care about them. And also they're missing some functions, like the ability to print to a modern day printer without having to get different extensions, or the ability to freeze. So I decided to go with one anyway. Here I specify an 100 megahertz 2-channel. I don't think I specified 2-channel, but that's what I was looking for. I'm just kind of scrolling through here, and eventually I see the HP oscilloscopes 600B. Here I'm actually staring down his handheld one, but again, I didn't really think it would be what I'm looking for exactly. I didn't think it would be as accurate. So I'm looking through. I just looked up HP 600, and there it is. I zoomed in there for a second. It had everything I wanted, 100 megahertz, two channel. So I knew of its brother, which was cheaper, the 600A, and a lot of these are much more expensive than what I paid for. In fact, I'm going to zoom in on that price. It was about $64 plus shipping. It was 80-ish. And that's a really good price for an oscilloscope. I mean, it was a good deal. But you'll notice that the screen is actually it's squished. Not physically, of course, but like the display, it's squishing it for some reason. And so here I am firing it up after I bought it. I didn't actually notice it was squished before, but you're about to see what I mean by squished. Like, it was really unusable. It wasn't just minor, it was full half. Okay, so my first thought when I saw that the screen was squished was that I'm obviously going to have to go into the internals, because of course I had already tried fixing the screen by just clicking the reset button, all that. I'd tried everything that people recommended online. So obviously I was going to have to go inside and mess around. And so I'm going to have to discharge the CRT. I don't actually have a high voltage discharge tool. So obviously I went online and I looked for the cheapest way I could do this without dying, or well, at least without a high chance of dying. So I found this thing, which is basically just a hillbilly modification, where it's a screwdriver with a very thick cable taped on. You don't even have to start it. I mean, you should, but you don't have to. And since I'm an absolute genius, I decided, no, I'll just tape it. So, 1, clearly I need to reassess my life goals. 2, I'll show a picture of what a hillbilly modification ends up looking like right after this, like right around here. So currently I'm just twisting the cable because it didn't wrap around very well the first time. I think I was going to try and tie it like a knot, which didn't really work out in the end. I ended up basically just kind of squishing it together, twisting it, and then wrapping, which you'll see in a second. Yeah, so I'm just cutting that electrical tape. Almost done. You kind of see what I'm going here. It's basically the cheapest way ever. It's just duct taping. It's kind of like saying it's industrial duct tape. That is a high quality industrial high voltage discharge tool. If I stick industrial in the name, obviously that means it's gonna not kill me. Here I am stabbing at the air for some reason. Honestly, I don't know why I did that. So the first thing I did was I looked up 54600A oscilloscope squished because, you know, that's the best way to find out. Other people have had that same problem. A couple people have, but the one I really liked was the Keysight forums, where someone with my exact model and exact problem was looking for help. And he's tried, and obviously it also helped narrow down so I didn't have to do as much. Like, he's tried adjusting the pots, and they just don't have enough range. And so this guy also mentioned that it looks like we're losing high voltage. He gave us a schematic, which I have over here, which I didn't actually use in the end, so that's too bad, but it's still nice for people to hand out schematics like this. So I use this at some points, but not that often. And I went down here, and then someone mentioned I had that same problem with my 54601 some time ago. Turned out that it was a dried out electrolytic capacitor in vertical stage. It was marked C609 on the board. In my case, a 1000 UF 16 volt. In the schematic, it is C651. And down here, someone says, I found it on my scope. It was the electrolytic capacitor marked C608 on the board and C624 in the schematic with a value of 10 UF and 16 volts. I replaced it, and the image is now full size. So my first idea was, I'm just going to buy both the 10 UF and 16 volt and in 1000 UF and 16 volt electrolytic capacitors, and I'll just put them both in because I'd rather not be wrong than be wrong twice and then have to pay for shipping twice, because obviously if you include shipping in these kind of orders, it just ends up being a lot more expensive. Like, I think, let's find the capacitor I bought. I bought one of these, and it's 25 cents. And then for an 1000 UF 16 volt, it was something like 18 cents. Oh, it was only 49 cents. I meant to say 89 cents, but it turns out it's actually only 49 cents. So obviously, why would I buy one of them and then pay for the $5 in shipping, because obviously this order is below like $10, so they got to make their money somehow, and that's in shipping and extra charges and stuff. So why buy only one of them and then have to buy it again if I'm wrong? So I just bought both. They arrived fairly quickly. Love the site. Jamico, shout out. I'm not being supported by them, but I still love that brand. Really cool. Never actually used them before until now. So yeah, that was my first step into figuring out how I'm gonna fix this. So my next step was just to crack it open and see what it was like on the inside. So we just discharged the CRT. Looks great. As you can see, if I rotate it, our anode is unplugged. For here, can you guys see that? No, you can't. I'm an idiot. I'll just take it off the map. As you can actually see, our anode is disconnected from the CRT itself after we discharged it by using my extremely sophisticated, it's the word, system discharge it. I've decided I'm going to try and clean up this case. You can't really see it on the camera. It's got slight discoloration, some weird goop on the inside that I found, but I'm pretty sure that's a conductor, so I'd rather not mess with it because it could be important to our DC ground over here, which is just that thing right there. Or it might be a terminal. I don't really use it, but I don't want to mess with it because it's nice. And also because of how absurdly dusty this thing is, I think I'm going to dust out the insides. Of course, because, it's pretty important if I'm going to open it up. Now right here, you can see it's right here. That's where I need to pull off this thing. But that will be a bit of a challenge considering it is underneath our CRT. So we finally got to the stage where we're going to take out the board from its chassis. Hopefully everything goes well. I have something to talk about in a second. So just enjoy the music for now. You may be wondering why I'm using a knife on this adhesive on our CRT. It'll switch cameras in a second so you can see it better. But the reason is that there's this old, strong, I'm guessing it's supposed to be there. I would assume it is. When looking at other CRTs, it seems to be there. I think it's just an adhesive so that it doesn't fall off at some point. Because this stuff's meant to last. So, yeah, just enjoy. Okay, well, here's our board outside of its chassis. It took me a while. I didn't see that adhesive till the very end, so obviously it was a little harder. I'm just marking out the capacitors that I'm going to remove, which is C609, C608. And here I am heating up the soldering iron. I kind of messed around with it for a second there, as you'll see in a moment. I don't know why I did that. I was turning it down thinking, oh, I want it really low. And I was like, wait, I'm desoldering something. I don't have to worry about, high heat. And I completely failed on this scene. I meant to record it. I definitely did. I planned it out. That was the one scene I got really excited for because it was going to show my shitty soldering skills. But in the end, I just didn't record it correctly. It's funny because I noticed it, but instead of moving it instead of moving it towards the camera, I moved it backwards. Which is why you guys don't get to see soldering. Only the aftermath. I don't know if any of you care, but whatever. So, obviously, I didn't really have the forethought when planning out in this scene that people aren't going to want me, or not going to want to watch me brush something off for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But all I'm saying, just to summarize it, is, because I want to keep that noise in, so you just have to ignore me talking, is that I like to use 91% isopropyl alcohol, not 99%. I feel like 99% is just a little rough. It's a little too harsh on my boards a lot of the time. Sometimes I also notice that it leaves that sticky residue. Don't like it. I just tend to go 91%. That's all I'm doing right here. I'm cleaning up all the connectors, removing the scrapes of dirt, cleaning up the connections I just made with my own soldering skills, which honestly amazes me that I was even able to solder, which seems like a bad thing coming from someone whose job wants to basically be electrical engineering. 99% isopropyl alcohol, because really it's the best stuff out there. So, here we are. We're finally at the very end of this video, or, well, pretty much. All we have left is to do this, which is just, I'm assembling it right now, as you can tell. is testing it, and then, I mean, I'm gonna show you guys it working. I mean, past the just test, I want to show some cool stuff. And then my Endcard, we're all done. I've got a smart socket set up down here, so just in case like that happens and it like explodes or some shit, I'm far enough away that I don't, well, you know, die. That whole thing is important to me. So let's plug it in. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Yes! And it turns on without the explosion so far. The HP logo is showing up. Our screen is working! Woo! So really all it was just 2 old broken caps. So we have our camera set up, of course. That's not what I'm talking about. We have our oscilloscope over here. I was just going to show you guys some of the, just seeing it work, because of course during the test video you only saw a short snippet of it. I was also going to show you guys a Easter egg at the very end. Let's turn it on. Give it a second, as of course it's a bit of an older piece of technology. It takes a second to boot up. So, as you see, all of it's actually got working planes now. I could take actual calculations from it. I can read these up top, which are, here's the Easter egg though, which is if you press print utility, and then you press these two, pull up a game of Tetris. So, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I spent quite a lot of time researching the best ways to work with this stuff, so I think I'll just take a break for now. Thanks for watching. See you.
Omae wa mou